Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will depart for China today, despite having failed to secure a face-to-face with US President Donald Trump in the first 5 months of the new US administration. I sat down with former Australian Prime Minister John Howard yesterday and asked him where he believes Australia's priorities should be directed. So I wanted to start with the level of global uncertainty. It is being described by many as the most serious since World War II. Would you agree with that statement?
No, I don't. I think that's an exaggeration. It's unstable. But when I think back to the Cuban Missile Crisis, when there was clearly not only with that, but otherwise, clearly a standoff between the militarily strong Soviet Union and also the United States. So I think we have to keep a sense of perspective, but it's difficult, and we have a problem with the unpredictability of a new American president. And in Australia's case, we must ask questions about the quality of our relationship with the United States.
How do you see our relationship with the United States, and in terms of keeping diplomacy with other countries, including the United States, China? We're seeing our Prime Minister heading to China for the next week. How important is it to have diplomacy?
Well, it's very important that we have relations with both China and the United States. We'll always be closer to the Americans because we share values, and the closeness of values binds countries together more tightly than anything else. And I don't think we should be reluctant to say that because it's true. And I think it's a good thing that the Prime Minister is going to China and that he has a working relationship with the Chinese president. But I think it's a very bad thing that he's still not had a face-to-face meeting with the new American president. Now, that is a terrible lapse of judgment and a bad ordering of priorities. I'm not saying that he should insult or ignore the Chinese, far from it. We've got 1.4 million people in Australia of Chinese extraction, but heavens above, Trump has been the President of the United States since the 20th of January this year, and our Prime Minister hasn't had a meeting with him.
Very true indeed. We saw that he was going to, but obviously for obvious reasons with the G summit.
Look, you don't treat a relationship as important as according to the chance whim of a meeting on the sidelines of another meeting. You just ring up and say, I want to come and see you in Washington.
That's what you would do?
Yeah. I mean, I used to go to see President Bush, and before that President Clinton. I had good relations with both of them, and I just think it's poor form, to say the least. Is he scared of meeting him? I don't know.
And what do you think of the tariffs?
Well, I think tariffs are bad economics. They're bad economics for the countries that impose them. They're bad economics for the countries that have to pay for them. And they're particularly bad for the consumers who have to pay more. In the end, the payment stops with the poor old customer.
And in terms of the trip to China, what are you hoping to hear from the Prime Minister?
Well, I don't know what his goals are. I mean, I welcome the fact he's going. I welcome the fact that trade relations have improved, but I ask again, why haven't you engaged with the most powerful man in the free world? I mean, after all, whatever we may think of President Trump, I mean, I disagree with a lot of things he's done, not all of them, but a lot of them, both before he became president for the second time and since. But he's the leader of the free world. And the United States and Australia have so much in common. We believe in liberal democracy. We believe in free markets. We believe that the individual and the family are more important than any other institutions in society. Now, why don't we give effect to that in practice?
If we go back to the federal election, we saw the Nationals do really, really well. Liberals, not so well. Obviously, we saw that split the first time in 38 years and they got back together very quickly. How do you see the current coalition? What do you want to see them do to potentially win the next election?
Well, I think they have to focus on a coherent, clear, understandable policy setting, particularly economics. I mean, everybody's got their theory as to why the Labor Party won. The Labor Party did better in the election than I thought they would. I thought they would probably win, but I didn't think they'd win as well. And I think the absence of a strong economic alternative from the coalition was the major reason. I don't think we should get diverted by debates about gender and equality and so forth. Now, we're all for having able women, more able women in Parliament. That's a given. Of course it is. But what we want are policies that are good for both women and men. And if we do that, I remember back to 1996, when I led the coalition to a huge win, we had an enormous number of women coming into the Parliament, a record number. And the last state election in New South Wales, if I am right, produced something like a parliamentary party with 42% made up of women. Now that's a pretty high percentage. And that was an election that we lost. So if people are saying you can only win if you have more and more women, that tended to raise at least a question mark about that observation.